Let me ask you something. Have you ever been told that your loved one is on early stage dementia, but his or her behavior feels anything but early? Or maybe someone said, they're not that bad yet, while you're already exhausted and quietly grieving. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people don't say it out loud. The so called stages of dementia often matter far less than we think. And sometimes they actually make caregiving even harder. And if you ever felt like the stage labels don't match what you're living day to day, you are not imagining it. Hi, I'm Rosabelle Sophil, neurology nurse practitioner, and I work with families navigating dementia every single day. Not just medically, but rationally. This matters because when families are taught to focus on stages instead of skills, they miss education that actually protects relationships. They wait too long to change how they communicate. They keep using logic when logic is already failing. In the end, they blame themselves when their loved one suddenly seems worse. All of that creates unnecessary suffering for both sides. Let's talk honestly. Dementia stages were never designed to guide daily caregiving. They were created to categorize research subjects, help clinicians communicate broadly, and offer a very rough orientation. They're descriptive, not predictive. But somewhere along the way, stages became treated like a roadmap, as if dementia progresses neatly from stage 1 to stage 7 in a straight line. That's not how the brain works. Here's what really happens. Someone might remember names but panic when routines change, speak clearly but become suspicious or paranoid, functions well one day and fall apart the next. Stress, fatigue, pain, infections, medications, sleep, all of those can make someone appear to jump stages overnight. So when caregivers say, yesterday they seemed fine and today they're completely different, that's not failure. That's neurology. This is where stages quietly hurt families. First, false reassurance. For example, oh, it's early stage, so you don't need to change much yet. But communication often needs to change before memory collapses. Second, there's a false fear. Let's say, oh, they're in stage 4. Everything is downhill now. That creates panic, not preparation. Third, delay education. Families wait until crisis to learn why arguing doesn't work, why correcting increases agitation, why questions like, do you remember? Can actually trigger fear. By the time they learn, the damage to trust is already there. When someone asks, what stage are we in? What they're really asking is, what does this feel so unpredictable? Why is communication suddenly harder? How do I help without making things worse? Am I doing something wrong? Stages don't answer those questions. Education does. And this is exactly why I created Rosa Believers Community. It's a space for caregivers and families who want real guidance, not just information, but support, education, and perspective that actually helps day to day life. If you're feeling overwhelmed, confused, or alone in this journey, that community exists. So you don't have to navigate this in isolation. Now, from a real world caregiving standpoint, what matters is what abilities are changing right now. How does stress show up in their body? What triggers agitation, shutdown? How emotional memory is driving behavior? How your tone lands? Not your words. Dementia is not just memory loss, it's a stress sensitive brain condition. And once you understand that, everything changes. As dementia progresses, the brain loses its ability to filter, reason, self-regulate. That means the world feels louder, emotions feels bigger, confusion feels threatening. So when caregivers push for logic, reminders, or corrections, the brain doesn't hear help, it hears danger. That's why someone may not be able to explain why they are upset, but they know they are. So here's a better question to ask. Instead of asking, what stage is this? Ask, what can they still do today? What overwhelms them the fastest? How can I reduce fear instead of correcting facts? How do I meet them emotionally, not just cognitively? That shift is the difference between escalation and calm. If you ever thought they're doing this on purpose, they're being stubborn, they should know better, Hear this clearly. That's not lack of love, that's lack of education. And the system, unfortunately, has failed many families teaching this sooner. Dementia is not a staircase, where you climb step by step. It's a winding path with plateaus, sudden drops, moments of clarity, moments of loss. The goal isn't to memorize stages, the goal is to adapt with compassion and skill. What I want you to remember is the following: stages are information, they are not instruction. They don't tell you how to talk, how to respond, how to soothe, how to protect connection. That knowledge comes from understanding the brain and unlearning what society told you dementia looks like. If this helped you see dementia a little bit different, make sure you subscribe to this channel. This is part of my ongoing dementia series where I teach what families aren't taught, and that is how to communicate, how to reduce fear, and how to protect connection as the brain changes. Watch the next videos in this series because dementia care isn't about stages, it's about learning how to meet the brain where it is.